You know, Star Wars is so diverse in what each individual person grew up with. Many of Gen X grew up with the original trilogy, a lot of people grew up with the prequels, and now we're even seeing kids that grew up with the sequels. But many of us, myself included, our childhood Star Wars was the Clone Wars, and a big part of growing up with the Clone Wars was of course the LEGO sets that came with that. And I think the pinnacle of Clone Wars LEGO sets is none other than the 2008 Republic Gunship. Set 7667 coming in with just a little over 1,000 pieces, the set originally retailed for $120. However, adjusted for inflation, this set would be $170 currently. This set comes in with 5 minifigures, starting out with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, I know a lot of people hate the Clone Wars style figures, and I mean, yeah, objectively it is awful. However, I'd be lying if I said I didn't love them personally. Next we get Plo Koon, who looks fantastic and has that cool rubber head. Here we have Asajj Ventress, who I think is a good looking figure, who also has an exclusive skirt piece that never came into another set. They also gave her custom lightsaber hilt pieces, which is not something they do often. Here we have Commander Cody, who was exclusive to this set for a few years. I love these Clone Wars clones, and I imagine many kids can relate to being forced to choose between this set and the ATTE in deciding which of the clone commanders you wanted more, Rex or Cody. Lastly, we get a normal clone trooper, which is great, though I think they definitely should have included at least one more clone trooper, as if this was released today, there would be a giant amount of fan backlash for only including 2 clone troopers. Finally, moving on to the massive Republic Gunship. Of course, on the front you have the iconic ball turrets, which have really good rotation and movement. Moving over a little and you'll notice this sticker with Salacious Crumb. A fun thing about this is LEGO actually provided extra stickers so you could change out the decal if you wanted to customize your gunship. Though the alternate sticker they provide is a bit questionable. This section though can actually open up to reveal a little command center inside. This is an alright little side build that you can fit 2 minifigures in. Though, if you really wanted, you could modify the gunship and use this interior space for more room for figures. A little bit over to the right of that and we can move up this small little flap and pull out a Bacta tank. The build is not very good, and it's actually pretty hard to get a minifigure in here, though I do enjoy them using this empty spot of the gunship for at least something. Finally moving back, here's where the action happens. We can open the 2 doors to access the giant interior to carry soldiers. The doors are pretty well attached, and I haven't really had any issues with their durability. Inside you have a small studded area that you can store figures on each side. A lot of people tend to modify this interior though, and put bigger plates inside to carry more troops. I must say though, having the figures just stand inside the gunship looks phenomenal, and it's amazing. Above the 2 doors and we have these small storage boxes, which is nice, and you can really store anything you'd like. Now all the way in the back of the gunship, you can lower this flap and access a brown speeder bike inside. The speeder bike looks pretty good, though unfortunately you can't have a figure actually on it while storing it back in the gunship. Above this back flap is another ball turret, which again looks great. Finally, moving back over again to the front, we can see ourselves to the 2 cockpits. You can open these hatches, but these do tend to detach a lot. It's honestly probably the most fragile part of the set. Honestly, it just would have been better if they weren't even hinged and they just detached like a normal LEGO piece. And another issue is, since we only get 1 clone trooper, you can only really have 1 driver, which is really lame. North of this is another little flap, which if opened reveals 2 little probe droids, which is fun. At the top we have the classic 2010s Flickfire missiles. These work just as well as any old Flickfire missiles ever have. You'll definitely notice the 2 giant rocket cannons at the very top, which look absolutely great and are probably the most iconic part of the ship. Lastly, on the wings, we have ourselves the laser cannons. I personally have never really cared for how these looked, but it's accurate and it's not really a problem with the set, but more of a problem I have with the in-universe ship. I think overall you'll probably be noticing by now that the gunship features a lot of small compartments that can store stuff all over. This is really cool, and it's something that I feel like LEGO used to do more in older sets. While I definitely have some minor complaints, there's no lying that I just love this set. I personally always preferred the full closing door version of the gunship by a large margin over the ones with the laser cannons inside. So with that being said, this is easily my favorite LEGO gunship of the 4 that LEGO has made. It's sad to say, but it's likely LEGO will never return to the greatness that was these 3 original gunships. Now that LEGO is stuck in their ways of downsizing everything and then some, it seems to me that we will probably never have a properly scaled gunship, but at least we can be happy that we have this incredible set.